We are 3 weeks on from the release of Mortal Kombat II, a film with a lot of characters, so in that time since it came out, I've been thinking a lot about how the iconic cast of MK are portrayed in it. Some are holy godsends that will be cherished for years to come. Others, well, they're certainly not that. Hello my fellow oddities, today let's rank every Mortal Kombat II character from worst to best based on how much me, personally enjoy them. Oh yeah, and a reminder, spoiler alert for Mortal Kombat 2. If you haven't seen it yet, it's been 3 weeks, get on that, man. But now, the Mortal Kombat 2 character ranking has begun. At number 17, I have Cole Young. Even though the rivalry between myself and Mr. Young is officially over, the beef is squashed, along with his skull, he is still by far the worst character in the film. And I am hearing way too many people lying and saying, actually, I don't know, I kinda liked Cole. No, you didn't. Shut up. Stop trying to be different. The dude is the most stale-bred character to ever grace the big screen. He was bad in the last movie, and to be honest, even though he's not in it much, he's bad in this one too. His dialogue is clunky and awkward, and they make it so hilariously obvious he's gonna die with every word that comes out of his mouth. You see, Johnny, when I joined this tournament, I knew I may never see my family again, but it's worth never seeing my family again to save Earth, even if I may never see my family again. Family. At number 16, I have Sindel, who's kind of the odd one out of the film. Everyone else gets something cool to do or contribute, even the other characters are low on this list. But Sindel is the only one that does pretty much nothing. Her only good scene is her stabbing Shao's guards after he kills Jared, but that doesn't really accomplish anything, and she spends the rest of the film a mindless puppet. She fights in the tournament, loses, dying brutally, and then just becomes an interrogation method for Shao Kahn to use against Kitana and get her to confess to being with Earthrealm. Looks and powers wise, she's fine. I wish she had her hair abilities and that her outfit was more purple, but it's serviceable, and the scream she does is really cool with how much impact it has. But overall, she's the only character I would say is just completely shafted, and reminds me of Melina or Nitara from the last one, though maybe not that bad. At number 15, I have Shang Tsung. This one pains me because every time I see Chin Han as Shang Tsung, I love his mannerisms, his look, and his voice. Their souls are mine. A lot of things aesthetically about him are great, but he just never shines. I don't know, something is missing. I feel like what's going on with him is that they know they're just not gonna beat Cary Tagawa as the character, so anytime the actor tries to do something cool with the role, they're just like, no. Just stop trying. But that just results in him being overshadowed by any other villain that actually does things. I love my boy Bi-Han, but in a Mortal Kombat movie, he should not be a more intimidating threat than Shang Tsung. To be fair, he is an improvement in this film. He does show some glimpses of that Shang Tsung treachery and manipulation, but that's all it is, just glimpses. I want more. And the most disappointing thing is that based on the trailers, I thought we were gonna get a full fight scene between him and Raiden, but no, Shang Tsung still hasn't had a fight in the Mortal Kombat movies, which is weird because Chin Han can do the choreography. I don't think he's not trained or too old or something. So it's just like, come on. Do something. At number 14, I have Quan Chi. Quan Chi is Quan Chi. Yeah, he's pretty okay. There's not really much to discuss. He's most likely getting a much bigger role in the sequel, though I will say I have two peeves with him. Firstly, the red markings. I know I should be over this by now, because it's been used incorrectly so many goddamn times, but those are runes from the Tomb of the Dragon King. Quan Chi does not look like this, he looks like this. And secondly, much less passionately, the voice. I think Quan Chi's deep voice that started with Richard Vigio and was carried on very beautifully by Ronald M. Banks in MK9 and X is so integral to my perception of the character at this point that any voice that isn't in the same vein just sounds weird. Here, it's very raspy and he sounds more like Shinnok to me than Quan Chi. Other than that, he serves his role well enough. A little weird he seems so loyal to Shao Kahn, but I don't know, it's probably just some 4D chest shit. He's acceptable, and I'm excited to see more. At number 13, it hurts a little to put him here, I have Scorpion. He's just not in it enough, and unlike the first film, his scenes aren't as huge of highlights as they were previously. And that's not because he's worse, that's because this movie is way better than the last one and is able to keep a consistent quality, but it also means Scorpion kinda gets lost in the mix. I still love Hiroyuki Sanada in the role. I like his costume, his action scene is great, his dialogue is fantastic, I love hearing his regular ass acting in front of these two goofballs, but he just doesn't do much, and even though it wouldn't make sense for him to have this huge role, he doesn't really do anything in the MK2 game either. It is a little disappointing for Scorpion to have so little screen time in an MK film 2 times in a row. He really desperately needs a spinoff. Come on, we would all watch the shit out of that. At number 12, for similar reasons, though his fight is just so amazing I have to put him higher, Kung Lao. Firstly, I do not like Revenants, never have. I think they were interesting as a concept for MK9 and a little bit of X, but then they just became way too oversaturated. So when I first heard Kung Lao would be a Revenant in this movie, I was very disappointed, and some of that certainly still lingers. I was really hoping that Max Huang would come back as Kung Lao, but as a morph for Shang Tsung, that way we'd get more of both characters. I still kinda wish they did that. However, I think Revenant Kung Lao is done much better here than it is in the games, cause there's more weight and emotion behind this, with Kung Lao being the only good guy turned Revenant, at least so far, instead of just merging in with a whole group of them. That allows time to really show how much it hurts Liu Kang to fight his best friend and basically brother, and that fight scene is just so peak. Max Huang, martial arts wise, is the most perfect casting in MK history. The dude fights exactly like Kung Lao, and his acting is surprisingly great considering he was just a stunt guy before these films. The combat, the hat, the teleporting, all of that is so perfect, but dude, he's just not in the film enough, and he's also a mind-controlled evil version of Kung Lao. I don't like that, I want my OG boy. So I have him here, but something to consider going forward is that just cause I have someone low, doesn't mean I think they were done bad or wrong. Sometimes a character that's low just didn't have that big a role, and that's what the case is here. At number 11, I have Sonya Blade. I love Sonya in MK 2021, and she's still just as great here. I like how she's the perfect mix between rough and tough, and also funny and charismatic. That's how you do Sonya. I hate when they make her super unlikable and grumpy all the time. Her fight scenes are pretty cool. I like that she does the leg grab on Sindel to deliver her fatality. I do think her ring blast is a bit OP. Like in the games, it's just a regular attack. Why does it one-shot everybody in this universe? She does have less to do in this movie compared to the first, where she was kind of the exposition dump for Cole before getting to the temple, and then she had the whole rivalry with Kano, which is much less prominent in this one. But yeah, Sonya is still great, but it's Sonya. Like, this is probably as high as she was ever gonna get. Then at 10, the pain! It's unbearable! I have Noob Saibot, or as they call him, just Bihan, but we all know that that's BS. Sorry. I'm sorry, this is as high as I could justify putting him. Listen, the design is fantastic, lifted straight from MK11, the powers are friggin' dope, and Joe Taslim is a godsend who rivals only me in fundamental understanding of this character. And that voice, I belong to the shadows, and they belong to me. But he's just not in it very much, and suffers the same issue as Scorpion, where in the last, much worse movie, he was able to stick out as by far one of the best parts. But here, with a great film, it's not that easy. But regardless, he's my GOAT, so you best believe he's at least making the top 10. And the next movie is another round one, so Simon McCoy, Jeremy Slater, Todd Garner, inject more Noob Saibot into my veins. And he's not dead, by the way. We never saw a body. At number 9, I got the God of Thunder, Raiden. Definitely the MIP, most improved player, cause Raiden in the last movie, while he wasn't as bad as people say if you actually understand the plot, he was clearly just acting like an asshole to get his heroes to step up, and he sent Cole home because he knew being with his family would unlock his plot armor. But still, he wasn't great, not in it very much, and made some questionable decisions. We also never saw that connection with his fighters, something that this movie changes, especially with the two Shaolin monks, both of whom Raiden calls his sons in this one. Those lines actually took me back, and I almost didn't like them because it's like, okay, people are gonna think he's actually their dad. But the costume is much improved, the presence is much improved, he has that really badass moment at the end, and he genuinely guides Johnny Cage the way a mentor would. He's not higher because this is a tournament movie, so he's obviously not gonna do much, and even then he gets put out of commission somewhat early into the film. But personality-wise and looks-wise, massive improvement, and I want more Raiden in MK3. And screw it, I want a Raiden TV show. Tadanobu Sano is goated, and I won't forget y'all saying, he's not right for the role, his voice is weird, he's too short. Stay on that side. At the 8th spot, we got Jax. Another greatly improved character. Jax wasn't so much done bad in the first film, he just kind of faded into the background and we didn't see much personality out of him. In this one though, he's one of the most personality-filled characters, and what I like about him is that most films, to make a character more likable, make them a joke machine, a la Thor in the MCU. In fact, most MCU characters. And while Jax certainly does have his one-liners, the main thing is that he just has a lot of heart in this movie. It feels like if this film didn't have so much going on, he'd be widely recognized as the heart of the team. He's the one who admits to Johnny that he's scared, and he spares Serena. Sorry, I'm so used to saying Bi-Han spared Serena. Jade, I mean. This dude done took over my vocabulary, damn. Anyways, I also love Jax's fighting style. It's mostly brute force, but you see a little bit of boxing in there, specifically a bob and weave hook that I think is an actual move in either MKX or 11. But yeah, I was super sad when Jax died, but I am excited to see if and how they develop his Revenant and PTSD storyline in the next couple films. At number 7, I'm going with Jade. Yeah, she's bald, we get it, can we move on now? Jade is done pretty much spot on in this movie. Her storyline is amongst the most accurate of the cast, with her being torn between sworn loyalty to Shao Kahn and her best friend slash sister. Her design could be a bit better. I hate that Jade's staff is always made green now. It's pink. Alright, I love green, but damn it, she has enough of it. But Tati Gabriel just has a very simple but effective charisma, and her relationship with Kitana is so good, especially in that first scene in the forest. I do wish they had a moment together at the end where we see Kitana realizing her friend is coming to her side. Maybe Jade gives her her fans, reflecting earlier in the movie. And I still do think her arc is a bit rushed, but Jade is just so likable, accurate, and just fun in this movie that I personally wasn't expecting it, but she gets this high. At number 6, Baraka. This dude's comeback needs to be studied. Seriously, this is a gigantic moment in the history books of MK. Take notes. First, MK11 gave him, you know, like a story instead of just getting beat up all the time. I mean, that's still what he does, but he also does other things like help out the good guys. Then Mortal Kombat 1 came along, gave Baraka a chapter. A chapter? And now we have this movie, Mortal Kombat 2. And not only is Baraka a good guy again, but he's hilarious, the lovable Drax type character of the MK universe. They cooked, bring it over to the games too, why not? And despite only having one fight, which he loses, he's not made to look pathetic even after getting nut punched. Obviously, he is the butt of some jokes, but it never feels in bad taste or disrespectful to him as a character. It feels like it's expanding him to fill a role he never did in the games. And hell yeah, I'm excited to see him fight alongside the good guys in MK3. Though I do dread that he is inevitably going to die in the next one. He's just so killable. Some things never change. Or maybe they will, who knows. At number 5, I have Baraka's master, Johnny Cage. That makes it sound like a slave thing. That's not what I meant at all. Johnny Cage, one of the most controversial characters of the film. Listen, I heavily, and I mean heavily, criticize Karl Urban's casting. In fact, of the MK community and content creators, I think I may have been the most vocal, with the small voice that I have, about my disdain for the casting. And those points I made aren't necessarily void now. I do think a younger actor always makes sense if you want to create a cinematic universe that lasts a long time. You can't have a 60-year-old Johnny Cage in MK4 and 5. That would suck. But in terms of just this movie and what they were going for, which was something different, he was great. I loved the sort of flipped Johnny Cage arc, where in the games he has to learn to think for more than just himself, where here he has to learn to embrace who he is. It's different, but still feels in line with the character. I could definitely see that being something they do in the games, where they have another time skip and some new hero is getting the help of Johnny, who's just depressed and doesn't believe in himself. His jokes are generally very effective, perfect mix of laughing with and at him. His dynamic with Kano is so good, and his fighting style, while goofy, is very entertaining to watch. Plus that shadow kick and nut punch is just mwah, immaculate. At number 4, we got the man, the myth, the legend, the godlike entity, Kano. Obviously, I think we all saw Kano being a standout again coming. He absolutely carried the first movie for a lot of people, cracked us all up, and he did so again here. But here, I think he's even funnier, with another funny man to bounce off of in Karl Urban. And I feel like he's allowed to be a bit more crude here, and is just in more funny situations, since this movie embraces MK's goofiness a lot more. His design is also a big improvement from the generic clothes of the last film to an actual Kano outfit. Great, that's a start. Now we need the eye plate. You had the perfect excuse to do it, and you didn't. What in the goddamn hell is wrong with you? I also think it's interesting that they make him this sort of anti-hero. He's almost playing a Cabal-like role of constantly switching up, bouncing between hero and villain. Obviously, the real reason they did this is so the audience would root for the good guys, cause Kano is so likable, and also to have him in the film more without every Earthrealmer smiting him in 12 seconds. But regardless, it's an interesting take on the character that I'm okay with. And screw it, try it out in the games. He's not in the MK1 timeline yet. At number 3, I have the true main character, Kitana. I understand putting her number 2 or even 1. This movie is a Kitana movie, so she gets the most development, the big victory at the end, and the themes of the film center around her more so than Johnny. It really just comes down to personal preference for the other two, but Kitana is so fantastic, pun intended, and Adeline Rudolph deserves to go right up there with Cary Tagawa, Trevor Goddard, Michael Jai White, Joe Taslim, all those perfect MK castings in live action. This movie actually made Kitana one of my favorite characters, and my second favorite female character behind Serena. She wasn't always that high, but I saw this movie and was like, hold on, this character is kind of peak. It opened my eyes. Well, my eyes were already open because but yeah, from her personality, to her story, to her fighting, to the fatality, the fan move she does in the final battle, ugh. I want another 10 films with this Kitana in it, and that is a demand. I don't care if they all make $0 and kill the franchise. I need to see more. The runner-up for best character for me is Shao Kahn. The big bad was done justice. And that is not something I've been able to say since... oh fuck no. 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 Absolutely not. No. There you go. MK Armageddon. 20 years ago. But this guy is just a hulking beast. In the little dialogue he gets, Martyn Ford puts on a great performance, an intimidating voice, and whenever Shao is on screen, you just feel like everyone is absolutely cooked. Even at the end, when he's mortal again and is getting stabbed up by Kitana, you're just like, nah, what's he gonna pull? And he almost does get her, but little blue ribbon for the win. But every other time, Shao Kahn ends up on top. He kills Cole Young, kills Jax, kills Liu Kang, batters Sonya. He's just a force. That damn charge looks so cool, and he does it like 4 times. Usually these movies only have the characters do the moves like once, but nah, they actually fight how they do. It's so good. The hammer and spear being merged into one weapon is so clever, and I hope they bring that into the games, because it really is quite creative. But yeah, Shao Kahn, you once again have reclaimed your title as the greatest MK villain after Shang Tsung has been outshining you for 20 years. Please keep this up and don't go back to being mid again. And at number 1, I got Liu Kang. Honestly, when finishing this list, this placement kind of shocked me. I didn't create this with a preconceived notion of who I would put where, but as I started doing it, Liu Kang just kept going up, and I guess he's number 1. Liu Kang in the first movie you could see the potential. I think we all could. He was just not given the spotlight, and a lot of people attribute that to Cole, but I don't think that's why. This movie had two main characters, yet Liu Kang was still able to shine and be kind of the semi-third one. Among all the heroes, he just feels like he has something separate going on, another plot line, or more like character arc running alongside the others. He doesn't just feel like another one of the good guys. He's got this thing going on with Kung Lao, he's constantly referred to as the greatest Earthrealm fighter, gets the most prominence fighting Shao Kahn outside of Kitana, and then that ending. He's just special in this movie. And then you take into account the big improvement in design with the red gi, the brilliant fight with Kung Lao, and that emotion of him having to fight and kill his brainwashed brother. That line, "I'm going to bring you back, but not today, brother." That's some heavy shit right there. About to choke up just talking about it, jeez. So yeah, Liu Kang had his moments in MK 2021. Here it feels like an expansion on that. It's not just moments, it feels like his story is woven into the themes and the purpose of this movie, which if you're not gonna make Liu Kang the main character, this is the least you can do. But that will do it. What's your ranking? Let me know in the comments down below. Like and subscribe if you feel like, and that's wraps on this one, my fellow oddities. I'll see you next time.